to await the arrival of buses expected to carry 140 undocumented immigrants.
And they came today to protest. They have American flags and signs that say, "Stop illegal immigration." Yeah, and you can see out here still a very active scene with these protesters on both sides of the street.
Well, Andrea, so far we have seen no signs of the buses, but we have learned that there could have just been a few more arrests.
Virginia, we now know there were at least 2 or 3 kids who had to go to the hospital, and that one bus left.
And they came today to protest. They have American flags and signs that say, "Stop illegal immigration."
Tensions rise in Marietta. A new battleground was built this week in a small hamlet in Southern California when irate crowds prevented detained migrants from accessing their community. The issue that has plagued the nation over an increase in the number of Central American immigrants illegally crossing the U.S. border has generated a new battleground. KFMB, a CNN affiliate, said that the demonstrators successfully forced the coaches to depart Marietta during a confrontation that took place on Tuesday.
A large crowd of both anti- and pro-immigration protesters gathered at the Marietta Border Patrol station Friday.
These residents don't want these immigrants moving into their community after they check out of the Border Patrol office here in Marietta.
Was in San Ysidro as that bus you see there left the Border Patrol checkpoint there.
Well, Andrea, so far we have seen no signs of the buses, but we have learned that there could have just been a few more arrests.
The 3 buses that were transporting the migrants through the city had their windows covered. The demonstrators screamed, "Go back home," and "USA." According to federal officials, the buses instead transported approximately 140 undocumented immigrants to processing centers in the U.S. that were located at least 80 miles away, specifically in the San Diego and El Centro areas. Over the nation's immigration system, which has recently been swamped by a flow of Central American adolescents unlawfully entering the U.S. alone or with other children, counter-protesters squared off against the protesters, and a yelling war broke out over the current situation. The influx of people from Central America is being driven by a combination of factors, including poverty, conflict, and the false promises made by smugglers. The Central Americans are detained and processed by the U.S. government, and they are finally freed after being allowed a month to return to immigration offices. This is in contrast to the situation with illegal Mexican migrants, who are frequently deported promptly. According to the National Border Patrol Council, which is the union that represents Border Patrol agents, many illegal immigrants never show up and become part of the 11 million undocumented population in the U.S. The immigrants from Latin America who were denied by the Marietta protesters were first kept in Texas, which is due to the fact that the facilities in the U.S. are so full that detainees are sent to other states for processing. The government does not have the capacity to house the children with adults because there is only one family immigration detention center, which is located in the state of Pennsylvania. Last month, the administration of President Barack Obama built shelters on 3 military bases in order to provide assistance to children who were without a parent or guardian. This was done because government facilities that were more meant for adults were flooded with youngsters. According to Marietta Police Chief Sean Haddon, who estimated that there were 125 demonstrators, the busloads of Central American immigrants who were detained on Tuesday did not contain any children who were not accompanied by an adult participant. One of the officials with the National Border Patrol Council stated that it appeared as though the children who were riding on the buses were accompanied by either their families or other adults. Tensions rise in Marietta. The demonstrators met the buses one day after the town placed a notice on its website which reads as follows: "Impeach Obama and deport, deport." Marietta is an opponent of the arrival of illegal immigrants. In response to the impending arrival of the 140 aliens to the U.S. Border Patrol station, Mayor Alan Long issued a statement on Monday stating, "This is a failure to enforce federal law at the federal level. The transfer of illegal aliens to the local Border Patrol office is something that Marietta continues to be opposed to." He made the statement, "It's not against the immigrants. They are attempting to leave a location that is less desired and come to the nation that is thought to be the best in the world. We are unable to hold them responsible for that. No one is raising objections to that. What we are protesting is the result of a flawed system that has now made its way to the doorstep of our neighborhood."
To await the arrival of buses expected to carry 140 undocumented immigrants.
and they came today to protest. They have American flags and signs that say, "Stop illegal immigration."
Those 140 Central American immigrants are being processed right now in San Isidro.
At least 3 buses like that one ended up there when protesters in Murrieta forced those buses to turn around.
According to Long, neither side in the ongoing national debate is able to contribute a solution to the problem. The issue is still active, she said. The problem is located in the nation's capital. The local issue was going to continue with a town hall meeting that was going to take place on Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Time. An official from the union representing Border Patrol agents stated that on Friday, the U.S. government is planning to deploy another group of unauthorized immigrants to Murrieta for the purpose of processing them. The next wave of immigrants is due to come on Friday, the 4th of July, according to Chief Haddon, who explained that he was informed to anticipate the arrival of 140 immigrants every 72 hours. Over the course of Wednesday morning, activists for immigration rights condemned the demonstrators. According to Pedro Rios, a community leader for the San Diego Immigrant Rights Consortium, it is deplorable that people espousing anti-immigrant hate language created unnecessary tension and fear for immigrant mothers and their children. Rios made this statement in a statement. Moreover, the fact that elected officials in the city of Murrieta were the ones who started this conflict is even more troubling. A sufficient amount of anguish has been endured by mothers and their children who are riding on these buses. On Tuesday evening, during a meeting of the Murrieta City Council, Long appeared to be more empathetic than he had been in his statement that had been posted on the website of the city the previous day. The cops and others were thanked by Long. Long stated, "Please keep in mind that these are human beings who are attempting to escape the violence that is occurring in their home countries. The issue is that they have to enter this country in a constitutional manner," the speaker said. Debate and challenges. A previous flight from South Texas to San Diego was used by the U.S. government to transport the 140 Central American immigrants. According to reports from CNN affiliates, the incident occurred on Tuesday while federal officials were utilizing buses to transport them to Murrieta in order to undergo processing at the Border Patrol station. The 140 immigrants were transported to the San Isidro station of the U.S. Border Patrol in San Diego, according to Ron Zermeno, who is a member of the National Border Patrol Council. This occurred after the buses had turned around. CNN was informed by Zermeno on Wednesday that a minimum of 136 immigrants were provided with food and screened. According to Zermeno, 10 of the children in the group were transported to nearby hospitals, but it is not known why they were transferred there. Scabies is a skin illness that is very contagious and causes itching. 7 additional youngsters have been diagnosed with active scabies. At the San Isidro station, he stated that those youngsters are being held apart from the other children currently there. According to Zermeno, 17 of the immigrants were transported to the Boulevard station, which is located in the eastern part of San Diego County. To imprison and accommodate an influx of undocumented immigrants, notably a surge of unaccompanied children from Central American nations such as El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras, the U.S. government is having a difficult time providing adequate housing and detention facilities. Insufficient amounts of beds, food, and sanitary facilities are available to the U.S. government. In a situation that the White House has referred to as an immediate humanitarian crisis, the authorities estimate that 600,000 to 80,000 children who are without parents will cross the border this year. In an effort to alleviate the strain on Texas's overcrowded facilities, undocumented immigrants are currently being transferred to other states for processing. Zermeno, on the other hand, argued that the processing of immigration, rather than the enforcement of borders, is in fact making the situation even more dire. He expressed his issue by saying, "My concern is that they are going to be eating in the same holding cells as someone sitting 5 feet away so that they can use the restroom." An illustration of the tension that exists between safeguarding the borders and maintaining the protection of detained immigrants and children was provided by the uproar that occurred in Murrieta. An increase in the number of undocumented immigrants, according to a protester named Ellen Meeks, has caused the nation's identity to deteriorate. "All I want is for America to be America again, because it isn't, and it's not just directed toward Hispanics," Meeks added. "I just wish America would be America again. It is necessary for everyone to complete the legal procedures."
But unlike Tuesday, when about 200 fervent protesters waving American flags blocked 3 busloads of immigrants.
Yeah, and you can see out here still a very active scene with these protesters on both sides of the street.
A couple dozen residents protested at the Border Patrol headquarters in Murrieta today.
Virginia, we now know there were at least 2 or 3 kids who had to go to the hospital, and that one bus left.
They're fed up with the fact 140 undocumented immigrants will fly into San Diego Tuesday.
Another group of demonstrators expressed their desire for immigrants to enter the U.S. in accordance with the legal process, as reported by KGTV, a CNN affiliate. Everyone who wants to come to this nation is entitled to do so, but they should come according to the proper procedures, Bob Cuccio said in an interview with the news site. Belle Reeves continued by saying, "You bring in all of these children, and they are going to take over our schools by themselves. Can you tell me what is going to happen to the children who were born and reared in this place?" On the other hand, Enrico Morones, an advocate for immigration rights, compared the influx to a crisis involving refugees and stated that racial animosity was the driving force behind the demonstrators. Not be having this interview, parents have reached their breaking point. They are expressing the sentiment that if I do not transfer my child north, they are going to die. 1 month ago, the Obama administration presented a plan to allocate almost $100 million to aid in Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador. The purpose of this plan is to assist in the reintegration of undocumented migrants who will be deported by the U.S., as well as to assist in keeping them in their respective countries of origin. In addition, the government has decided to set aside $161.5 million for the Central American Regional Security Initiative this year. This decision was made in an effort to help stem migration flows as well as address the root cause of the migration, according to the White House. The government of President Barack Obama has accused Latin American syndicates of conducting an intentional campaign of spreading false information about moving to the U.S. This effort has led people from Mexico and Central American countries that are economically disadvantaged to put their lives in danger in order to illegally cross the border into the U.S. That's all for this video, folks. See you next time.